Look, I used to think that saving money meant living in my parents' basement, eating ramen for every meal, and basically having zero life. I'd open my banking app, see $247 in my checking account, and think, yeah, I'm doing great, because at least it wasn't negative. Meanwhile, my friends were posting their vacation photos, buying new clothes, going out every weekend, and I'm sitting there wondering how the hell everyone else figured this out. Here's what nobody tells you. I had this backwards, like completely backwards. My name's Rayhan, and I spend way too much time thinking about why we're so terrible at saving money despite knowing we should be doing it. If you're someone who makes decent money but somehow always ends up with nothing left at the end of the month, or you've tried to save before but felt so deprived that you gave up after 3 weeks, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because here's the thing. I saved my first $10,000 in about 14 months, and I didn't stop going out with friends. I didn't meal prep chicken and rice for every single meal. I didn't become that annoying person who calculates the per ounce cost of everything. And honestly, once I figured out the actual system, it felt almost automatic. So let me take you back to where I was. I was making about $52,000 a year at my first real job out of college. After taxes, that's roughly $3,250 hitting my account every month. And I remember thinking, dude, this is so much money. Like in college, I was living on maybe $800 a month, so this felt like I was rich. Month one, spent everything. Month two, spent everything. Month six, spent everything plus dipped into overdraft. And here's what most people don't realize. According to a 2023 study by the Federal Reserve, 37% of Americans couldn't cover a $400 emergency expense with cash. Not $4,000, not $10,000, $400. But here's where it gets really interesting. The same study found that 63% of these people had the money. They just had it tied up in ways they didn't want to touch, or they spent it on things before the emergency hit. This isn't actually an income problem for most people. It's a system problem. Now, you might be thinking, Rayhan, I barely make ends meet. I don't have money left over to save. And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that someone working minimum wage with 3 kids has the same opportunities as someone making 6 figures. That would be insulting and stupid. But here's what I discovered that changed everything for me. I wasn't broke because I didn't make enough money. I was broke because I had organized my entire financial life around spending first and saving whatever was left over. Spoiler alert, there's never anything left over. Here's the math that broke my brain. Let's say you make $3,000 a month after taxes. Your rent is $900, your car payment is $300, insurance is $150, your phone is $80, utilities are maybe $120. That's $1,550 in fixed expenses. You've got $1,450 left for food, gas, entertainment, clothing, literally everything else. Most people look at that number and think, okay, I'll spend what I need to spend and save the rest. And then that $1,450 just evaporates. $200 on groceries that somehow becomes $340, $150 on gas, $80 here for drinks with friends, $45 there for a new shirt, $60 on DoorDash because you were tired. Before you know it, it's the 28th of the month and you've got $63 left and you're like, where did it all go? This is exactly what happened to me for 8 months straight. Here's what I finally understood. Willpower doesn't work. Discipline doesn't work. Trying to be better doesn't work. You know what works? Making the decision once instead of making it 47 times a month. Let me explain what I mean. Every time you're deciding whether to buy something, you're using mental energy to make a financial decision. Should I get this coffee? Should I order in? Should I buy this thing on Amazon? By the end of the day, after you've made 8 financial decisions, your brain is exhausted and it just starts saying yes to everything. Psychologists call this decision fatigue, and it's why you can be so disciplined at 9 a.m. and then order $47 of Uber Eats at 9 p.m. The trick is not to be disciplined with your spending. The trick is to hide the money from yourself before you can spend it. I know that sounds weird, but stay with me. So here's what I did, and this is the exact system that got me to $10,000. On payday, before I paid a single bill, before I bought anything, I moved money into 3 different places. First, the untouchable account. I opened a high-yield savings account at a completely different bank, not the bank where I had my checking account, a different bank with no debit card, no checks, nothing, just an account that took 2 to 3 days to transfer money out of. I set up an automatic transfer for $400 to move into this account the day after my paycheck hit. Now you might be thinking, $400? I can't afford that. Here's the thing, neither could I, or at least I thought I couldn't. But when the money just wasn't there to spend, I figured it out. I made different choices. I made coffee at home 4 days a week instead of one. I meal prepped on Sundays. I said no to random stuff I didn't actually care about. Second, the guilt-free fun account. This is critical. This is why I didn't feel broke. I put $300 into a completely separate checking account that was only for fun. Restaurants, bars, concerts, clothes, whatever. Once that $300 was gone, I was done for the month. But while it was there, I spent it without any guilt whatsoever. This is the piece most financial advice misses. If you try to save money by depriving yourself of everything you enjoy, you will fail. It's not a matter of if, it's when. You'll make it maybe 6 weeks, then you'll snap and blow $600 in a weekend to make up for it. Third, everything else. The remaining money stayed in my main checking account for bills and necessities. So let's do the math. I was taking home $3,250 a month, $400 to savings, $300 to fun money, $2,550 for everything else. My fixed expenses were $1,550. That left me with $1,000 for groceries, gas, and random life stuff. And honestly, that was plenty. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. The first month sucked. I ran out of fun money on the 23rd and had to just stay home that last week. I felt like I was missing out. My friends went to a concert and I couldn't go. That part was hard, but here's what happened. I didn't touch my savings account, not once, because it wasn't there. It was in a different bank. It took days to access, and in my mind, it just didn't exist. Month 2 was easier. I spent my $300 more carefully. I suggested cheaper hangouts. I had people over instead of going out, and I ran out on the 27th instead of the 23rd. Month 3, I had $40 left on the 30th. I was learning. And my savings account, it had $1,200 in it. $1,200 that I'd never had before in my entire adult life. This is where it gets really interesting. Once I saw that $1,200, something clicked in my brain. That money became real to me in a way it never had before. It wasn't just an idea anymore. It was actual security sitting in an account. After 3 months, I made a decision that accelerated everything. Every time I got money I wasn't expecting, a tax refund, a birthday check, a work bonus, whatever, 50% of it went straight to the untouchable account. In month 6, I got a $1,000 tax refund. $500 went to savings. The other $500 I split between my fun account and treating myself to something I actually wanted. This is important. I didn't put 100% towards savings because that's not sustainable. I rewarded myself, but I also didn't spend 100% like I would have before. By month 8, I had $4,200 saved. I was over a third of the way there. Then I did something that surprised me. I increased my automatic transfer from $400 to $500. You know why? Because I realized I'd been living fine on what I had. My lifestyle had adjusted. I wasn't struggling, I was just being more intentional. Let me show you the actual breakdown of how I got to $10,000. Months 1 through 5, $400 a month equals $2,000. Month 6, regular $400 plus $500 tax refund equals $900. Total $2,900. Months 7 through 8, $400 a month equals $800. Total $3,700. Months 9 through 14, $500 a month equals $3,000. Total $6,700. Month 11, regular $500 plus $350 bonus equals $850. Total $7,550. Month 14, regular $500 plus $280 birthday money equals $780. Total $8,330. Months 15 through 17, $500 a month equals $1,500. Total $9,830. Month 17, sold old laptop for $200. Total $10,030. 14 months, from completely broke to 5 figures in savings. And here's the wild part. My quality of life didn't go down. It actually went up. Because instead of feeling anxious every time I checked my bank account, I felt proud. Instead of wondering how I'd handle an emergency, I knew I could handle it. Here's what most people don't realize about saving money. It's not about making huge sacrifices. It's about making the right system so you don't have to use willpower every single day. I still went out with friends. I still bought things I wanted. I still lived my life. I just stopped letting money randomly drain out of my account without any plan. The average American spends $164 a month on subscription services, according to a 2024 study by C+R Research. But when surveyed, people thought they were spending $86. That's almost double what they thought. That's the problem. We're bleeding money in ways we don't even notice because we're not paying attention to the system. Now, look, some of you are thinking, Rihan, I've got student loans. I've got debt. I can't save $400 a month. And I get it. If you're drowning in high-interest debt, you might need to adjust the system. Maybe you start with 100 to savings and 200 to debt. The point isn't the exact number. The point is the system. Some of you are thinking, I've tried this before, and I always end up pulling the money back out. Yeah, because you put it in an account that was too easy to access. That's why you need a different bank with transfer delays. Make it annoying to get to your savings. That annoying friction is your friend. And some of you are thinking, what if I have an emergency? That's exactly why you're building this money. But here's the rule. An emergency is not, I really want to go to this festival. An emergency is, my car broke down and I need it to get to work. Keep that definition tight, especially in the beginning. Here's something nobody talks about. Once you have $10,000 saved, making money becomes easier. I know that sounds weird, but it's true. When I hit $10,000, I started taking small risks I couldn't have taken before. I negotiated harder at my annual review because I knew I could survive a few months if they said no and I needed to look for a new job. I invested in a professional certification that cost $800 because I had the safety net to do it. That certification led to a promotion. That promotion was a $7,000 raise. That raise let me save even more. Financial security compounds, not just the money, but the confidence and opportunities that come with it. Okay, here's exactly what you need to do. Step 1, open a high-yield savings account at a different bank than where you have your checking account. Ally, Marcus, Capital One 360, whatever. Just make it annoying to access. Step 2, calculate 12 to 15% of your take-home pay. That's your savings number. If you take home $3,000, that's $360 to $450. Step 3, set up an automatic transfer for the day after your paycheck hits. Not a week later, not when you have extra, the day after payday. Step 4, open a second checking account just for fun money. Put 10% of your take-home in there. This is your guilt-free spending. Step 5, live on what's left. I promise you, you'll figure it out. Step 6, every time you get unexpected money, 50% goes to savings, 50% goes to whatever you want. That's it. That's the system that took me from $247 in my checking account to $10,000 saved in 14 months. Look, here's the thing that took me way too long to understand. Being broke isn't about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. I know people making $90,000 a year who are living paycheck to paycheck. I know people making $45,000 who have $30,000 saved. The difference isn't the income, it's the system. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to never spend money on fun things. You don't need to live like you're in financial prison. You just need to pay yourself first, hide the money from your present self, and let time do the work. 14 months from now, you could have $10,000, or you could still be sitting at $247 wondering where all your money went. The choice is yours. If this helped you, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment letting me know what your savings goal is. I read every single one. Now, go set up that automatic transfer. Your future self will thank you.